It's a good story. You should do the research and go back and read up on it. It's a good story. Apparently the book is supposed to be very good. There's a local kind of version of that called the Nickel Boys here. If you guys know anything about it, in Mariana, boys home, that they ended up killing a bunch of kids and stuff. And it was just gross. It's right in Mariana right here, called the Nickel Boys. Kind of, I don't know if it's cool, but it's interesting.
Wow.
All right. So there's some lighthearted talk. Anybody sell anything, list anything, get a price reduction? Silence is deafening. Okay. We got a good conversation today. Hey, Julie's connecting. 1 minute or 2 minutes, 2 minutes. All my teams won this weekend. Look at me. What? It's because of me, right? All my teams won. The Bears won. The Bears are horrible and the Bears won. So Alabama was down at halftime, so I was winning there for a minute. Then I got smoked in the second half.
The Packers score.
Packers keep losing.
Packers are losing?
Yeah, the Packers just keep on losing. They only have 2 wins,
They're in tough shape.
5 losses.
Roll Tide.
Packers went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, so they had like 500 years of good quarterback play. That helps. Now they're back down. Now they're in the swamp with the Bears. But the Bears will. When I lived in Chicago, it was the Pack will be back. Not in our lifetime. And then they were. Now the Bears went down. All right. I'm waiting for the 1 minute. I'm ready. I've been up and going at this thing for a while. So look out. Oh, here we go. 8 o'clock. Ding, 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 ding. There's the bell and they're off. Okay, so here we go. Last week's last week. Yesterday's yesterday. Hope you had a good weekend. This week, is this the last week of October? Unbelievable, isn't it? Last week of October. All right, let's look at some numbers, shall we? So 52%. Can you guys see it? If you can, it says 52%. That 52% represents rent to ownership. It's 52% more expensive to own a house right now across the US than it is to rent. The 30-year mortgage on a $430,000 house at 10% down comes out to be about $3,200 a month, or 60% more than it was just 3 years ago. That's interesting.
Wow.
That's a big jump, right? Which is why the buyers are not lining up to buy at these high rates. So if you're wondering what's going on, that's what's going on. All right. Interesting. Here's the other thing. Rates ain't coming down. If anybody tells you, and I know Julie, you got Buffini saying they're coming down. I hope you're right, but I don't see it. I do not see it. Until, well, maybe they will. Maybe we're going to be in World War III here by the end of the day. Who knows? But some massive, I think, in my view, are going to have to do that. The other thing is, rents are going to start going up. Because you know what happens? All these people that bought here are going to jack their rent up. All right. And that number is going to turn. So if you're a renter right now, I would get a year-long lease. I'd get a 5-year lease. I'd get whatever the longest freaking lease I could get right now. Right. Because that number is going to, it's inverted right now. It's really, if you think about it, the number in a healthy world, that number is pretty equal. Matter of fact, it should be just a little bit less to own a house. But if you're gonna rent, I would lock in the longest the longest rental thing you can get. What's that called? A lease? The longest lease you can get. And if I'm an owner, I'm locking in the shortest lease I can get, because that's about to go up. All right. Yeah. So that's what's going on with that. All right, so let's talk about our world. What's going on in our world? Julie, you want to talk about builders last week? You want to do that later, or what do you know?
Later.
Okay. Let's talk about what's going on. Real estate sales are down, except for Destiny. Real estate sales are down. Okay. And they're likely going to stay down at least for, I don't know. I keep hearing survive till 25, but let's say they're going to be down till, I don't know, March, April. Let's give it another quarter and a half. Hell, they're going to be down all of 2024. Okay. So if you're thinking you're going to get saved, what's that?
Just plan on it.
Yeah, it's going to be
Work like
down.
that.
It's going to be down. All right. So if it's going to be down, what can you do to get some bucks in this place? Right? What can you do? I'm talking about side hustles now. And when I say this, I do it very cautiously because I do not want you to give up on real estate and do a side hustle and then come back. No, no, no. What I'm talking about is do what you're supposed to do in real estate. Talk to people, preview properties, study the market. Like your life depends on it, because it does. But in addition, add it on to when you're done with, you see where this is going? Add a side hustle, or I don't even know if it's a side hustle, but something that's going to bring in money that you're not necessarily doing. Your money brings, the easy one is a cash flow property. Okay, that's the easy one. That brings in money. And for me, I'm very grateful because I've got some properties that are throwing off a good amount of money right now. So I'm very thankful I did that. You all should be investing, because then you'd have these cash flow properties that are throwing off money. But assuming you don't have that right now or can't get to it, maybe you can, come up with something else. Dividend, right? A dividend throw off stock, if you have that, is passive income. Okay, we like that. If you can buy that or get into that, maybe that's something. These are things that are making money while you're out working anyway. This is the ad. All right. Those are the I mean, Jeff, you got any more to add on that?
Well, yeah, I got a lot.
You add in the finance type of thing.
Yeah.
Short-term CDs.
All
Yep.
right. All right. Short-term CDs. Put your money in a short-term CD. Okay.
Right. You have mutual fund, real estate investment trust, stocks, money markets, CDs.
But you gotta make sure they're dividend paying, so you have cash flow.
Right.
Mhm.
That makes me nervous about this. The CD is not a cash flow situation.
No, that's 5%, 3 months, 5%.
But that's not
1
cash
month.
flow, is it? You're not getting a monthly payment
Right.
back, are you?
No, okay, well, that's what you mean. Okay, well, it's still 5%
You gotta buy your
on
bread. You gotta buy bread. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna have to sell
Okay.
your CD and take a capital gain. We don't
Yeah,
want
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think of what else.
You could owner finance stuff for people. You could do private lending
There
for
you go.
builders.
There you
They
go.
need
Hard money. If you got a few bucks in the bank, you can be the hard money lender, right?
Right.
If
Right.
I mean, think about it. If you got some money in the bank, you can borrow it out right now at probably 9 or 10%
Higher
or higher and get
Yeah.
paid monthly.
coin rate here. 12% is the low rate here.
Okay, so 12. Look at you. So if you have some money sitting around in your bank account,
Right.
you can become a hard money lender.
Yep. We're doing it. It's the most profitable thing I'm doing right now is that.
The hard money lending, because it is 100% passive. You have nothing to do it, right?
Nope.
Cash your checks. Guess that's something.
But how do you get to that part, though?
How do you get to that?
Well, you get to be old like me and you work.
All right,
towards
so let's talk about it for a quick minute, because this is probably the #1 best way to go if you got money sitting around. All right, but here's the problem you got. Well, maybe it's not a problem if you want cash flow, because you can get out of that CD, you can get 5.5% with no risk. But here's what you do: if you got money sitting around, rather than put it in a CD, make it available as a hard money loan for somebody to borrow from you. you get the asset as collateral, right? So if they crap out, you get the asset, which is, a good thing. And you get 12% on your money.
How you get
And
involved?
you get a significant down payment. What's that?
Okay.
Dave?
Faye's asking, how do you do it? What you do is you talk to builders and you see if they need any money because banks aren't giving them money. So they need it to keep going.
The builders, okay.
Builders, you can go to groups like this and say, hey, I've got some money. I got 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand, I don't know, whatever grand you got. I got some money. I'll make it available as a hard money loan. But be careful. You want to make sure you have an attorney put it all together for you. Don't get too.
True. I think Julie wants to say something. Julie? She
Well, I
might-
was going to say that most hard money lenders know all the hard money lenders in town. So, and they usually are lending to flippers and people who have watched a lot of HGTV. But the reality is if you know anyone who likes to flip investors, you probably guys have like the real estate investment groups. They're probably popping back up, right?
Yep.
Where people come in and say, here's how you do fix and flips. Hard money lenders, the low rate right now is 12%. And that's a lot of people who buy properties, fix them up, sell them. But also builders borrow from hard money lenders.
And they're comfortable with it.
Very comfortable with it. That's how a lot of small builders, not the large builders, not Toll Brothers and Meritage and D.R. Horton, but smaller builders use hard money loans. And that's how I know so much about it is my husband was a builder for 40 years and that's what they did. That's what they do. So find people who do that and just say, hey, I've got money, because they'll lend out your money because they run out of money that they can lend. But they're always looking for more, because at 12%, 12, 13, 14 years ago, I remember doing flips and paying 18%. It's always a lot more than so because it's 12 right now, 12 was when interest rates were 5 and 6. So I'm going to guess that they're higher than that now, but
They're going to go up higher too.
yeah, because they're always more than what the market is, because it's money that
You
you
can't
can't
get otherwise.
yeah.
You're the loan shark, basically.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Builders are still offering 5.5% and $10,000 closing costs. Holiday and DSLD is still offering that.
Yeah, so that was one of the things I was going to say about builders. Builders business here, I can't speak for Florida, but in Arizona is up by almost 12%. And they're not experiencing the difficulty that the rest of us are, where the volume, the number of closings is down, but the dollars are still up. So if you're getting the transactions, you should be on par. It's just that there's fewer transactions to be had. But the builders are actually up because they have no problem taking a part of their profit margin, squeezing their lenders and buying down the interest rate for borrowers. So a lot of first-time home borrowers are in this market tending toward.
So it's propping up the overall sales, the builder sales.
Yeah, plus the builders generally build on the outskirts where the land was cheaper because it doesn't pencil in town, if you will. And so they have lower priced properties already, and now they're buying down the interest rate. So first-time home buyers are always going to the outskirts. And the thing you have to remember about an interest buy down is you have to qualify at the ultimate rate. So the payment
Where it
is,
ends.
yeah, you don't get more house because it goes up if it's a 2-1 buy down. It might be, buy the interest rate down, but it's for 1 year or for 2 years or, whatever. It's not for the life of the loan.
Yeah.
But the builders are actually up in our market, and they're not giving incentives, and they're not. So you guys, when you said that they're calling you and saying, hey, we're paying you 3%, they always pay. Some of them are paying 2.5, some of them are paying 3 here, but they pay it on the base, not the final price. So plus they'll do base less incentives. And when they're doing, 2-1 buy downs, that's a huge, you're getting a lot less than if you sell them a resale home.
Yep. It's big. It's big. I love it. Thank you, Julie. That's super cool. Faye, the other thing you could do, just let it contact, you know what I would do? Maybe I'll do this. I don't know. I would look at the inventory and I'd find the houses that I'd be willing to lend on. And I'd let the listing agent know that, hey, if they need help on the finance side, I can help. right?
Mhm.
So there's
Just
ways to do it.
Hard money lenders, if you're going to get into that, you've got to make sure it's a completely different thing. Most hard money lenders will look at someone's credit score, experience, and say, okay, how easy is it going to be for them to get to the finish line? If they're, because they're generally flipping homes or they're builders, and how creditworthy are they and what are their assets? And they'll require at least 30% down, because if they have to come back and take that house because the flipper can't get to the finish line, they want to make sure that they're getting their money back, because they're going to have to finish that house now. And so even though they're charging a lot more, they're looking for people with a lot of experience.
It's expensive. If you're borrowing hard money, it's expensive, but it's usually in a short period of time until you can fix it on the long term. So just keep that in mind. All
Yeah.
right. A lot of
Hmm.
money in that. A lot of money. Let's talk about some other things. One thing I know about, so because you need to have some income. It's very stressful if you have no income. All right. So you got to come up with a way to have some other income. And if you don't have money to hard money lend, if you're not getting dividends, if you're not getting cash flow off other properties, there's other things you can do. Like I was thinking about this ADU or whatever. If you have room on your land to put up a shed, put up a shed and rent out storage space.
Yeah.
They give you $100 a month. I don't know. You gotta write it off,
That's what I did in college.
right? That's what you do, right? I mowed lawns. I had a snow blower. I made a lot of money just stuffing it.
I have a
Sure.
new client. I have a young couple that just bought their first home, has a above a second story apartment. And someone just said, hey, I've got to come over to Tyndall. Can I park my RV in your side yard and pay rent for that? And he goes,
Yep.
heck yeah.
Yep.
So he's getting
Be
above
smart.
and beside.
Yep. Be smart. I mean, I sat for like 10 minutes thinking, how could I get, if I absolutely needed to get some money flowing in here, what could I do? I probably can't do an ADU, but I bet I can do a storage, maybe even two. So if I have two of them there and I'm making a couple hundred off of each, maybe I can invest in vending machines. Vending machines are really good ones. They're relatively inexpensive to buy and they're good cash flowing little things where you might make a couple $100 a month. All right, in quarters. But those are there. What other things? I was thinking about it. Oh, here's one I wish I would have done when I was younger or whatever. I got so much sporting equipment. Maybe this is for Mark and your group. So many baseball gloves and bats, hockey stuff if you're up north, lacrosse, whatever. All this sporting stuff for kids that they grow out of after one season. All right. Carl, you got something? No. All right. That they grow out of, that you can rent. Go grab all that stuff, stick it on Facebook. Baseball glove for rent, $20 per season. I don't know, get it back. Baseball bat. Those bats are expensive, guys. Believe me. Baseball bat, slightly used, only one home run, but 10,000 strikeouts. Whatever, $20 for a season. Hockey equipment, incredibly expensive. Golf clubs, if you have golf clubs, somebody comes to town. Skis, just go down the list. All this, played against sports, but don't sell it. Rent it. You get the tax
Baby
benefits.
stuff.
What's that, Julie?
Baby stuff.
Baby stuff, cribs. You got old cribs sitting around, travelers coming through, whatever. There's so much stuff. I would do, rather than a rummage sale, kitchen stuff. All right. My wife's into making sourdough bread right now, which means I've got all this Amazon stuff coming in, mixers, all this stuff that in 2 months is going to be taking up space.
I just thought of one, John. So a small business, a side hustle that I've seen in our market, because we have a ton of short-term rentals, is somebody who markets themselves to go decorate for different events. So if you have people coming in for bachelorette parties, bachelor parties, family reunions, funerals, they go and they prepare the unit ahead of time. So they target short-term rental owners And, so that they get on their sites. And so when everyone's coming to town, they decorate or prepare whatever the guest needs.
Love it.
Mhm.
So many things, you guys. So many.
We're paying for people to decorate our house for Christmas.
That's
Two
another
people come here, they make a lot of money. It's amazing. If you're-
Halloween. So there's a
Yep.
business where people will go and put up and take down
Birthdays.
decorations. Yep.
There's so many things, you guys, if you would just, and then I thought, okay, what else do you know? What do you know? Intellectual property wise, do you know something? I was saying, oh, grandma's meatballs are so great. Everybody loves them, whatever. I don't know. Come up with something and create a class, create a something that somebody will give you $20, $30. If somebody will give you 20 or $30, that might not be a lot, but if 200 people give you 20 or $30, it starts to add up. And then if you start putting
Brian
all this stuff
Levesque.
together, all of a sudden you got some real money. What's that, Mark?
Ryan Levesque in his book Ask tells how he sold just an ebook on bonsai trees, and he made hundreds of thousands of dollars. My niece, who is in med school, sells little earring hoops on Etsy.
Yeah.
They cost her less than a penny to make. She sells them. When somebody buys one pair, she sends them 5 because they're less than a penny. The most expensive thing is the first class stamp. She's in med school and she's making $3,000 a month selling little earring hoops
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
on Etsy.
So clearly there are a gazillion things. Destiny's making shirts. There's a million things you can do, but just be very careful that you don't leave your primary source of career to do this little stuff. Because,
Or
3,000 a month is
misbrand
great.
yourself.
What's that?
Or misbrand yourself. You see that where people you stop being seen as a serious realtor.
Yeah.
Do it as a side hustle. Don't let that blow up everything.
And your best thing is when your money's making the money, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So but it's going to be very difficult for the next little while for this market to shake out and start going back up. So if you can come up with something that's going to provide some relief, it's probably a good thing. Probably going to be a good thing for you. Okay. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. There's a lot of ways to make $400 or $500. And if you get $300, $400, $500 coming in, that takes a lot of pressure off a lot of other things. All right. And lets you do the right things more. Okay. So what I would encourage you to do when you get off this thing today, just sit down, 10 minutes, sheet of paper, pencil. What could I do? Go walk around your house. What could I rent out? Right? What could I do that'll bring in a few?
John, can I offer one more idea?
Yep.
What can I cut out? How much is going out? Is there $500 a month going out in unnecessary expenses?
Yes.
Both. You got to do them both.
and.
Cut your expenses and then increase your income somewhere. And you can, and you will. And you'll be glad that you did. All right. And then what you're going to want to do is go make an LLC. Well, you probably already have your realtor, but if you haven't, make sure you're an LLC and create a little business plan, create some minutes, and you have yourself a business. And you can do all kinds of stuff. Okay. So do that, but be very careful that you still call people, talk to them, knock on the door, whatever, talk to people about real estate, preview property. You got to be great. You got to be really, really good at real estate right now. Okay. So there you go. That's what I got. Anybody else want to add?
I have a question.
All right. Thank you very
Okay.
much, Faye. We'll get to you next year. Yeah. What do you got? What do you got?
I was wondering, since we're self-employed, we're not considered as a LLC. We have to establish that, like put it on paper.
Well, I'm not an accountant. I don't play one on TV. Matter of fact, I barely even know any. If you're
Yes.
if you're not an active LLC right now, I would go talk to somebody.
Right. It's to insulate yourself, Faye, from liability on these different things. People sue everybody for everything. You got to try to protect yourself. So you want to protect your personal assets from the liabilities of even ownership of short-term or long-term rental properties.
Yeah. Phase
Okay.
Used Bikes LLC. So when you rent your bike out to somebody and they wipe out and break their arm, they can't come sue you and say that you didn't give them proper instructions on how to ride a bike. Or if they do and you lose, they're gonna sue
Right.
Fay Walker's Used Bikes LLC.
Right. McDonald's
Okay.
gets sued for hot coffee point. You know, it's just crazy what happens.
I
Nowadays.
see.
Now, one of the last thing I want to say was my brother and I both are guilty of this. We had money sitting in bank accounts, not getting 1% interest. That's all they're going to give you. And then we didn't do anything with it. And then, you know, until you figure out it's 5.4%, 3 months, whatever it is, you can go out and invest that money and get something for it. Don't just let money sit in a bank for 1%.
Or whatever those credit cards are paying.
One of the things you can do is like our bank has high yield accounts and they're a lot higher than the others. So we checked into that, but yeah, we did the 6-month CD thing too.
Good.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go to
All right.
work. Let's go to work,
Wait,
people. Good job. We'll see you tomorrow, all right?
Yesterday, I woke up thinking I missed the meeting.
It's on replay. You can watch again. All right.
Thanks.
See y'all tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day, you guys.